Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy and glad to be with you today, traveling far away from Egypt to here to meet you and to present our paper. So here is our today's agenda. We will go through the biography and we'll go through the EDA industry and we'll know exactly what is EDA means. We will then get introduced to usability definitions and evaluation methods and what kind of challenges for testing the usability in the EDA industry. After that, I will went through with the process that we adopted at Siemens EDA in order to take care of the user experience within our softwares. Finally, I will provide you with an example how we can 11 years, and I have just earned my MBA at Slesca University 2020. I have also my colleague Marwa. She is a co-author in this paper, and she also has a huge experience in the EDA industry and semiconductor industry. And also my manager, Reem Al-Adawi, also a co-author in such paper. Reem is interested more in the machine learning field, and I am interested more in the semiconductors and digital platforms, marketplaces, and etc. We'll get started by the EDA industry. As you know, the digital transformation is a theme for today's era. And to have a digital transformation, we need a combination between hardware and software. So as long as the semiconductors technology enhanced and then get advanced, we can have multiple functionalities on the same chip area. So 10 years ago, we have a chip with a certain dimension that provides some functionalities. Nowadays, we have the same dimensions with multiple functionalities and multiple transistors.
So to continue, EDA industry is related to the semiconductors, and as the advancement in such industry happens, we can have more functionalities and more transistors on the same chip. The EDA term exactly started at 1960 when some researchers in a leading industrial and academic lab developed a first computer-aided design. So CAD is computer-aided design tools to help and support engineers creating layouts of electronic circuits or electrical circuits. So these tools help the designers to know before they deliver such electronic circuits to the fabs in order to be fabricated, if there is any challenge or any problem or any hot spot that needs to be fixed before they started to fabricate it. This simple graph provides us with an insight that across the years, now we are after 2020, we have reached more than 50 billion transistors on a chip. So as you see, the advancement of technology can provide us with having more transistors, so as having more functionalities in the same area of the electronic chip. And here is an example that the M1 for the Apple product includes 57 billion transistors nowadays. So it's a real example from our daily life. I would like to get you introduced to the semiconductors ecosystem. So we have chip foundries like TSMC and Samsung, SMIC, and UMC. We have fabulous chip companies, the companies that do the design, but they do not have their own fabs, like Apple, IBM, ARM, AMD, Qualcomm, Broadcom. We have another here, the integrated device manufacturers, where these are entities or organizations that design and fabricate in their own fabs. After that, we have companies, organizations concentrating in the equipments that are used in the electronics fabrication process. One of the well-known organizations is ASML. After that, some organizations are concentrating in the area of the materials and the chemicals that are used in the electronics or semiconductors processing. Here is the EDA tools. We, as a Siemens, are one of the companies, leading companies in such area. We have two more companies, Synopsys and Cadence. And the last one, some companies that provide certain designs, and any other designer or company can buy such designs from these companies. So here is the ecosystem of semiconductor industry. Let's start talking about usability. The first impression happens when you meet people in the 100 milliseconds. It's very short time. And according to studies that Google research stated that people form first impression about web pages in 17 to 50 milliseconds. So it is 2 to 6x faster. And this is the same, applies the same for the user interfaces. Jacob Nielsen stated that bad usability equals no customers. And if users cannot find it or see it, nothing else matters. Let's start with what's meant by user experience. As per the ISO documentation, user experience means the person's perceptions and responses resulting from the use of the product or a system or a service. Also, user experience includes all users' emotions, beliefs, preferences, perceptions, physical and psychological responses, behavior, accomplishment, before, during, and after the use of such tool or software or product, you know? So we can apply the user experience science on the physical products or even the services, okay? And even the softwares. So we can understand from here that user experience is all this stuff before and during and after the use of the product or service or software. Usability is the extent to which software can be used by a specified user to achieve these three goals: effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction. And here are the 6 pillars or 6 components for usability. The first one, effectiveness. Can users achieve their goals easily using our product or our software? The second one is efficiency. Can the users achieve their goals fast using our software? These are questions we need to answer and get into and consider it while we are developing and evaluating our softwares. The third aspect is learnability. Is our software easy to learn, or it is so tough? Multiple buttons or multiple widgets. Is it memorable? Can user go away and return back after a month or more, use the same software, and can remember how to use it in a proper way, an easy way? Memorability. The fifth aspect is error handling. How does the tool react with the users while he did or she do any incorrect action? It provides with an error message that guides the user to get out of this, or it provide a harsh message or a jargon message that only technical people understand. And the last aspect is user satisfaction. Do really users like our applications or software and recommend it to other users? These are the 6 components of the usability that we need to consider while we are assessing or evaluating the usability of.
I know you want more, but probably can hear you.
We will provide a definition about user interface. User interface consists of all components of software product that provide information and control to user to accomplish specific tasks. One of the ways to assess the usability is the usability testing. Usability testing is an activity that focuses on observing users using and working using our software or products, performing tasks that are real and meaningful to them. So throughout usability testing, we as a tester, we need to monitor and observe real users, the intended users, the intended segments that we are targeting with our software, while they are using this product or this software, performing the certain tasks, and get notes about what they're saying, what they think, you know. We at Siemens, we have a concern about such usability. So we have a dedicated event, annual event, named User to User. It usually happens at San Francisco or San Jose, at our headquarters there, and we invite all our customers for an event, include sessions about our latest enhancements and features in our products, and also we do usability labs in this event. So User to User is an event at Siemens company that we invite users in order to observe them while they are using our tools and take notes and observe them how they interact with our tools. What are their recommendations? What are their comments? And in a business way, this is the way we hear or have the voice of the customer in our organization. I will introduce you now about the various types of usability evaluation methods, and will finally provide you how did these evaluation methods contributed to enhancement of user experience of our Siemens product. First of all, usability evaluation, it is the process through which we gather information to improve the system or to assess the worth of our system. Sometimes we can deliver a highly functional code, but the usability is so poor, it's so bad, that makes the user cannot use the tool at all and cannot make benefit of such features. These are the three techniques that are used in the usability evaluation. The first one is usability review. Usability reviews can be done with experts or with traditional users, so that we can let them go through a scripted task, or we ask them to make a certain task and see how they interact with the tool, how they think while they are using it. Okay? So this is a method for evaluating the usability. Second method is the usability testing that I have just stated. We have a specific event, the user at Siemens, to see the users while they are observing and making certain tasks. The last evaluation tool is user surveys. So successful organizations use the three evaluation methods or mix of them in order to gather a lot as information from the customers about their usage, their interests, their recommendations, their pain points in order to enhance the user experience and usability of their tools. The objectives of the usability evaluation are these: to assess whether the usability requirement have been met or not, to uncover usability problems that can be corrected, to measure the usability of our software. One of the tools that can be used in the reviews of one of the usability evaluation methods is the heuristics. Heuristics are kind of rule of thumbs, sum of rules that we need to consider while we are developing our software user interfaces in order to satisfy these rules. When you satisfy these rules, you for sure will deliver the high usable and friendly tool. Okay. Jacob Nielsen and Don Norman are the godfathers in the usability science and user experience science. They developed 10 rules that every developer and tester need to be aware of, so that they can evaluate the UI based on these 10 rules. The consistency, the user familiar language that the tool uses, the user familiar language, not jargons, the clean and functional design, the design of our UI is not include two buttons or include something that distracts the users from usage. Freedom, it provides the user with the freedom to do whatever she or he wants to do. Flexibility, it provides him with or her with the shortcuts or the most frequent actions so that they can perform it quickly and easily. Recognition over recall, the tool helps the user in order to recognize rather than recall. Show status, a good usable UI need to provide a status for every action to the user. Do not make an action in a back end, an important action in back user. Prevent errors. Prevent errors means that the UI need to provide and guide the users how to use the software in a proper way and how to guide the user not to fall in a certain error or stuck in a certain block. Okay. Support error recovery. We help the user to recover from errors easily. And last one, provide help. These are the 10 rules, 10 heuristics, 10 design heuristics that were created by Jacob Nielsen and Don Norman, and they are very well known. By the way, there are many heuristics in multiple industries. So each software company needs to check among all the heuristics and take what benefits the organization. But for our case, we returned back to the 10 heuristics developed by Jacob Nielsen and Don Norman. Any questions till now? Okay. We, especially at the EDA industry and semiconductor industry, we have some challenges. One of these challenges that customers use the EDA tools when simulating their designs, which are confidential and cannot be exposed outside the companies or disclosed and shared with everyone. So we deal with Intel, we deal with Apple, we deal with Samsung, we deal with the huge organizations that design and fabricate the electronic. They are so confidential. So it is not easy that the customer can disclose or share with you how he used the tool or how she used the tool, as they are a little bit afraid to disclose any of such confidential information. So it is one of the challenges to invite users or to go to the user's premises in order to see how he or she how they use the tool. It is very challenging because of the confidentiality of such industry. We cannot easily access real users in their normal environments. In order to assess the usability in a very proper way, you need to make the evaluation in the user's environment, not just invite him or her to your environment. This is good, but it's much better to assess in their environment. Sometimes we cannot know the exact way users use our tools. Our tools support multiple features and multiple flows. We don't know exactly how the users use our tool. And we even cannot track that because of the confidentiality of our industry. So these are two challenges. One more, some users are used to traditional methods using the EDA tools and are reluctant to adopt new practices. So if we enhance the user experience, we enhance the way we do some flows. So there are some users being reluctant to get ready or get used to the new way of doing things, One more challenge, product development team members usually focus on functionality and performance rather than usability. Although every one of us use the Facebook, use the Apple devices, the Android devices, and has a very good experience, but after the weekend you return to your work with a very poor usability software. So you are it's not easy to perform your objective easily. One more challenge, it can be difficult to justify the investment in usability and UX efforts to management. We have a matrices, we have a KPIs that we can use, but it needs the management to learn about it, to be convinced about it, to buy in such factor, which is the usability. We cannot build the code within the software to track the most used features. We cannot track what kind of features that are used due to the confidentiality of the industry. There are pressures in time and budget considerations. It is difficult to recruit and bring real users to participate in usability testing. Multiple personas. We have the designers and we have the fabs, and each of them have multiple personas. So we, as a software provider company, simulators, we need to satisfy both personas. Users prefer in the EDA industry to use the batch rather than GUIs, as they are used scripting and something like that. So in order to shift the mind of users to way, it needs an effort and it needs studies and research in order to understand the users very well to provide them with a real solution. We start our process having the marketing requirement document, and the engineering team or developers started to make the function specs. And we, as software testers, quality control, or quality assurance teams, we develop the test plans. Our test plans not only address the functionality testing, but also performance and usability. So nowadays we have a section for the usability testing in every new feature added in our tool. What we have done after we studied this science, how we adopted in a certain process in our organization, we adopted a new checklist. So every developer needs to go through the checklist while he is introducing a new window or a new UI. So he needs to check that he is validating or satisfying these rules within this check. We added usability evaluation section to the functional test plan. We implemented automated test cases for each mentioned scenario in the test plan. We regularly run automated usability test cases against the GUI to guarantee consistency across versions and updates. And finally, we review the wireframes and low fidelity prototypes early on the cycle with the development team and the product engineering team. I will take one example of the 10 heuristics that were developed by Don Norman and Jacob Nielsen, which is error prevention. How we automated certain scenarios in order to ensure that error prevention rule is satisfied. We, for example, verify unneeded widgets are disabled. We are making automated test cases to check the status of each widget. Certain flows are disabled. We verify tool prevents bad data, like special characters in the line edits field. We verify tool provides clear warning and messages to users before performing any deletion action to prevent data loss. We verify dialog widgets include only specified or standard actions like cancel, apply, and close buttons, not adding more buttons, making the user distracted. We verify providing error messages, provide corrective guidance to prevent the actions likely to fail. We provide warning and error messages, ask us for confirmation of risky or irreversible task before it is performed. And finally, we dump all widget status and verify they are only enabled in correct order of test case execution. The 10 heuristic rules developed by Don Norman and Jacob Nielsen, we have developed an automated way in order to satisfy them. If you are really interested, I have just in the presentation through one of the rules, but you can right now on the website of the PNSQ 2022 conference, and you can see what other rules and how we can satisfy it in your organization and using your own software one. Here is the results. We used 3 types of evaluation. The blue one was the contribution of usability problems that we discovered using the usability testing technique. 42% of the items were covered through the usability testing. 39% were covered using the checklist that adopts the 10 heuristic rules developed by Don Norman and Jacob Nielsen. And the 13% were discovered from the informal usability review. So I asked many of the employees, my friends, to come down on my desk and try the tool for certain tasks. And I take notes, what changes they face, what's their observations. 13% only of the usability problems were discovered using this informal. As you see from this pie chart, the most usability problems were covered using the usability testing evaluation method. So that is why we need our organizations to adopt such technique to make it frequently and regularly in order to gather as much information as soon as possible. All these efforts contributed to increase in 28% of the user experience satisfaction, and it was calculated by the number of usability items that we find through all these usability evaluation techniques divided by the functionality items bugs that we have detected. So we enhanced the usability of our product by 28 techniques by so simple steps, but we adopted it as a process So we can make it regularly,
Yes.
frequently within our team and within our software development lifecycle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I will provide now
we
with
did bring
four
her to the orthopedist, orthopedic doctor today, and they did X-ray, and she definitely has a bad sprain. They put her in a walking boot, so they said no putting any weight on it for about 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, she'll be in a boot for a while, and pretty much the rest of the season, I guess. But yeah, it was just a bad sprain, at least, not a break or anything.
Okay. So the first application, we have this window in our old GUI that includes the window that includes some configurations the user need to add. But we forgot to provide the user with a result tab in order the user can access the result after the run. You know, it is
maybe, yeah.
But we have discovered this trivial one and the high severity issue while we are using the usability testing. So we added here a results tab so user can access the result easily after doing the run. And they can return back to it whenever he or she needs to access the results. One more, we have this window, user can choose among multiple options. But there is something in the usability science named the Fitts law. Fitts law stated that time to require target is a function of distance and size. As the size becomes small, it will take much time for user to choose it or to access it. So we have enhanced it by making much bigger buttons, so that user can choose it easily, and with figures so that user can figure out what is the difference between these three options. In this one, in the old GUI, we have two tabs, which includes various tools. We have get rid of these tabs, and we put all the actions here so that we can reduce the number of clicks for users in order to perform a certain task. And finally, we provide user risk flexibility, what kind of widgets he needs to show. And he can check and uncheck as he likes. Thank you so much. Hopefully it is a good and benefit content for you. You can access this or scan this QR code and provide feedback or questions regarding the presentation, or you can connect with me through the LinkedIn through this QR code. Any questions? Yes.
You mentioned the difficulty with obtaining usability testers. What is your company proposed?
Oh yeah. Want you to repeat the question again?
Yeah. So you mentioned something about the difficulty of obtaining usability testers. So I was wondering, how does your company go about doing that?
So the question is how Siemens company has figured out about usability testing. What did they do? So we started by training our current testers. So one of my objectives was to learn about usability, being certified about the certification of usability, and propagate such knowledge to the whole QA testers teams in Siemens. This is the first step. The second step, after training the employees or my colleagues, we adopt it as a process. And after that, we apply this process. So we start, your question is so interesting, and this slide was covering it. We start by setting the vision and why we need to address the usability and user experience and how we do it. This is the first phase. The second one, which is user experience adoption, we started with training, we develop processes, we allocate resources, and finally, we make programs. After that, we set KPIs or matrices to measure either we are growing or not, and also to convince the management and the return out of such effort, So we establish the matrices, and we have process audit if we are applying the process as we stated or not. So this is how we adopted the usability or user experience within our Siemens organization. Any more questions?
I've got a quick question on, do you see, is there a strong need in your world to look at different cultural differences, expectations in the interfaces? Just like localization of strings and stuff, but like just different kind of interaction expectations or?
Yes, yes. That is why, as stated in many speeches in this conference, we need the power of AI to do the customization. And here is the flexibility point in the rule of, in one of the rules of the heuristics evaluation developed by Don Norman. We need to, underneath our code, to develop a machine learning or AI algorithm so that it provides the GUI in a more interactive and intelligent way according to the user needs and according to the user culture. Yes, 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 yes. And currently, many of the commercial products already did that. So it is our role right now to convert this experience into the semiconductors experience. You know, this paper is counted the first paper speaking about the user experience and usability in the EDA industry or semiconductor industry at all. You know?
Actually, I believe that.
Yeah, I didn't find any textbooks, any other resources. So we understand the science and we adopted it and applied it in the context of semiconductors EDA tools.
Actually, again, follow up with her question. How do you hire or interview or how do you get really great usability testers to be on your team? Like, how do you find them, attract them, recruit them, motivate them, retain them?
Yes, usability testers, one of the great articles or a great sections in a usability book that I read, that usability testers need to be not underneath the engineering or development team. They need to be a separate team with testers teams or other team, which is named as architecture or design team, so that they can perform freely and they can have a representative in the management that understands the UI, usability and user experience very well, so that they can propagate such knowledge so that they can buy in. So the first start is the vision. Do we really need the user experience? You know, currently there are many companies that we see and we deal with that the differentiator was the usability. For example, Apple. You see their phone, they even removed the one button that they used to put it. You know? Apple and Google are from the high adopting the user experience in their culture. So we need to start with the vision. What are the differentiators? And today, as you know, there is something in the economics named the experience economy. How you can sell something and with providing a special experience, you get a return and a high return out of that. You know? Any more questions? Any questions from the Zoom attendees?
Not yet. They're just yelling at me about the early mic stuff.
Yeah. Any more questions?
I have another question to make.
Oh, yeah.
So my car, launch it, it spends half the boot up sequence doing all sorts of marketing, right? Tell me, I think we're going to this experience thing. Right? So what is, I guess you describing like, is there a balance between the marketing desires of the company, like to make the graphics look graphic intense versus just more usable, simple buttons?
That's a very intelligent question. I thank you for asking it.
I think it was actually Thomas Heine with.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Actually, can you repeat it for me?
Sorry. Oh, yeah. We have one question here that stated, how can we not just stop by having a good design or a good graphics? Instead, we have a really good usability, right? Yeah. The answer is usability is not about the look and feel also, or not about the good design or the good graphics. It's about the simple design. It's about, you can measure it, for example, when you enhance the usability, for sure, you need to track a lower support time. If I enhance the usability of our tool, there is no need for customers to call my support. How can I do this? So you can figure out and you can reduce the support team budget and make it towards the good design and the simple design that help you. Yes, yes, yes. So usability is not about good graphics and good buttons. No, no, no. It's far more about that. You know, one of the usability techniques is eye tracking. We put a certain detector so that, or mouse tracking, so that we can detect what buttons or what places the user are consuming most of the time while using our UI in. A popular one, which is the F shape in the websites. So you do not need to put any buttons in that place. It will not be seen. You need to put it in the F shape, in the pattern of the F shape. So users start with the first line, second line, and then that. You got it?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Any more questions? Oh, yeah.
Any questions in the online? No online questions yet. Okay, but
Oh,
thanks, Kirolos,
thank
for
you
all
so
this
much.
information.
Thank
Now we
you.
know how our cars actually work.
Thank you. Thank you.